You know, there's a technique that you've been doing since you were a little girl that you can create something out of today, and it's called braiding. You remember braiding hair, right? Well, try braiding fabric to create these awesome projects. This is totally handmade. I'll tell you what, you won't see anything like this in any store without knowing that somebody put a lot of time and a lot of effort and energy into it. They're absolutely gorgeous, and it's basically taking different types of fabric and braiding it together and then stitching it together. This is a little trivet. This is a really cute little matching napkin holder. You can make bowls. You can make rugs. You can make trim for pillows. I mean, the ideas are limitless. Now, you can also pick up this little book right here. It's a basic book to get you started with braid crafting. And what you really want are a couple of key tools to make the whole project go a lot easier. And let me show you what they are. First of all, you want a braid laser, and it's this little tool right here. You want a clamp. It helps hold the end of your fabric together nice and tight. And then basically, you want a set of 3 braid crafters, and they're neat little tools that basically roll your fabric together for you as you're braiding. And I'll show you how that works in just a second. So before you get started, let's talk about how you begin, and that is, of course, with strips of fabric. And the best kind of fabric to use is cotton fabric. You can use any type of fabric you like, but it will stretch and it will move differently, so you want to experiment with that first. I'm using 3 different colors here. They kind of coordinate together in beiges and browns. And then what you want to do is, depending on your project, you want to figure out how much fabric you're going to need. And there's a formula for every project in every book. Then you're going to create strips of fabric. Depending on the project, this one happens to be 5 inches wide. And then what you do is I press them together. I rolled in the edges of each side and pressed them together so the raw edges are folded in and facing each other. So I have a nice clean edge. And then once you determine how much you need of each color, you're going to stitch them all together. So that's what I've done here. And let's start with this one. Let's pretend this was going to be one long edge. And if that were the case, you make an L, and then you stitch it across that way. I just hand stitched it across. You can use your sewing machine if you want. And then you're just going to cut this off right here. And cut that little edge off. I used every bit of the fabric I possibly could, so that when you open it, you have one long strip. When you begin, this is the very, very beginning of your project, you're going to take your 2 colors and you're going to do the same technique, and you're going to stitch them together so you've created one long piece. You're going to take your 3rd color and put it right here in the center. You're creating kind of a T. As you're facing it, a T, and you're going to stitch that together right there, okay? You don't worry about the color of thread or anything like that. Match it if you have it, but you're not going to see it anyway. Okay, so this becomes the very beginning of your project. You fold your colors in so that you can't see the stitching. And this becomes the very beginning of your project. You're going to put your clamp right there, and then you're ready to start braiding. And here's a tip that I learned the hard way. And before you stitch all these together, you are going to want to add your braid crafters, because once you stitch this together, forget about it. Okay, you want to put these on before you stitch everything together, because these are the tools that are going to roll your fabric together. Okay, so I've started already. I've got my clamp right here. I've got my braid crafters on. And now I'm just going to take this little hook right here. Now you want to work with something really sturdy and secure. And because this is my craft room, and because I can, this is basically, what I do, I'm just going to add this little hook to this. And I've created something stable to work off of. I have this piece of furniture. I can put a hole in it because this is my craft room. But I put a little eye hook here. Okay, and this is what I'm going to use. I added another hook here, and I'm just going to use this to anchor my project to. And depending on the braiding technique, you want to pull your braids off to the side as you braid. And these braid crafting tools help put a little weight on your fabric, but you'll also see as you pull the tool down, as you make your way down, because how it's curved, it automatically rolls the fabric in. It rolls the raw edges of the fabric in. See, look at this. Pretty cool, huh? Off to the side, pull it down. So as you're braiding, if it comes undone a little bit, you just have to keep it all together. Pull it down, it'll roll. Pull it down, it'll roll. Okay? And you just keep braiding all the way down until you get to the very end. Now, when you get to the very end, you're going to do something like this right here. As you get closer to the end, you're going to narrow your fabric down just like that. So as you continue braiding, you get all the way down to a point, stitch it together, and you have a nice, clean, smooth edge to work with. Then you're going to end up with this big long braid, and you're going to start rolling it together, depending on what shape you want. If you want oblong, you want a circle, completely up to you. But what we're going to do, I want to show you a little trick, is how you're going to stitch your braids together, and that's where this handy little tool comes in right here. It's your Braid Laser, and you want to make sure you have lots and lots of twine to work with. But you can see, I mean, on this one you can hardly even see where you began and where you ended. That's what's so amazing about it. But you're going to start in the center, obviously, and start rolling it up. But I'm just going to kind of give you an example here of underneath how you can easily, with this lacer, it has a little curved edge to it, how you can easily go underneath one piece of fabric and through another, just like that. And you continue lacing all the way through, and you'll never see it on the other side. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so once again, depending on the fabric that you're using, you may need to pre-wash it. If it's something that you want to wash at some point, you want to pre-wash your fabric first. Okay, there are a lot of great tips in the Braid Crafting magazine, so, you know, and I've given you lots of hints already. And by the way, if you're going to use your rug, don't forget about this. Remember I showed this to you in the latch hook segment, and basically it is a product that you can pretty much paint on the back side of your rug, and that way it won't slip and it won't skid. You won't skid across the room. It's a totally great thing to use if you're actually going to use your braid crafting project, then why not? Okay, so all the tools come together in a kit, and all the information is available. All you have to do is click onto the instructions page, and we'll take you right to Herrschner's, and you can get all of your braid crafting supplies.